What is up, everybody? Welcome to Unplugged with Tyler Winters and John Pearman. I am Tyler Winters. That's John Pearman. And we've got a stellar show. Yeah, he's over there.
I'm over here.
Nope, not there. Over there.
Yep.
You got him. Got a stellar show for you today. Not a ton of scene-related news, I would say, but there's...
Well, that's because we killed the scene.
You mean when we said that pop punk's dead?
Yeah, it's dead and buried.
Yeah. Well, there is maybe some scene adjacent news out there, and I kind of want to on one of these topics. I want to talk to our scene bands here on what not to do, because there's some things happening right now that artists are doing, and it's just fucking stupid.
Tower no likey.
So we're gonna get into that. Also in the news, though, Spotify. They're rolling out music videos. So, John, I want to get your take on that, see what you think. And again, this is not scene-related whatsoever, but there is a music icon who has announced his comeback to Spotify. I think it's hilarious, but I want to get your take on that as well, John. But before we get into all of that, I want to give a huge shout out to our current monthly supporters. Your support means the world to us and does not go unnoticed. And it really does go a long way in keeping this thing going. Guys, if you're interested in supporting the show for as little as $3 a month, which is less than the cost of your morning coffee, you can help us continue creating great scene-related content without the need for us to rely on ads, which can distract you from your listening experience. Plus, it's a vote of confidence that we're on the right track and creating the content that you love. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in doing, please click the support the show link in the show notes. And if you can't contribute financially, no worries. Leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify is a fantastic way to show your support. And please feel free to share these episodes with the people that you think will love the show. And also, we have a newsletter. Don't forget. If you want to stay updated on all of the latest scene news and music releases, sign up for the Unplugged weekly newsletter. We gather all of the essentials for you, making it a one-click source for scene updates. And the best part, it's entirely free. So head over to unplugged.allpunkedup.com to start staying informed and consider signing up. We've included a link in the show notes for your convenience. So with that out of the way, let's get into the show. So let's start with that first bit of whatever that I brought up about me wanting to talk to the scene bands. So there was an article that came out. Consequence of Sound had the beat on this, and the title of this article was "The Newest Way to Game the Billboard Charts is Super Annoying." Definitely caught my attention. So I clicked and I read, and here we go. This is what it says. It says, "For almost as long as Billboard has published charts, artists and their reps have tried to game them. You may have noticed this latest annoying tactic, or perhaps you caught annoying tactic acoustic, annoying tactic sped up, annoying tactic slowed down, and dozens of annoying tactics alternate mixes." Okay, so you may have seen artists releasing sped up versions, slowed down versions, acoustic versions of songs. The Consequence is calling this an annoying tactic to game the Billboard charts. So it goes on to say, artists are releasing the same song in alternate versions in what is a rational but still tiresome reaction to Billboard's rules. It goes on to say, how did we get here? Figuring out what's popular sounds simple enough, but the people doing the counting have to make all sorts of judgment calls. Is watching a music video the same as paying money to download a song? Do ad tier streams matter as much as paying customers? And should different versions of the same track be tallied as different songs? In the case of the Billboard charts, the answer to all of these questions is no, and each no ensures that more expensive consumption is given a bigger share of the vote. According to the New York Times, the Billboard album charts count a YouTube stream the same as a stream on Spotify or any other platform, depending on whether the listener paid for their account. 3,750 streams from free users are counted the same as 1,250 plays from the paid accounts, which is equal to one physical album purchase. Let's see.
Who came up with that math?
I don't know. Basically, I wanted to talk about this tactic that they bring up with, especially when it comes to sped up and slowed down versions. John, I think I don't know when we talked about this, but I feel like we brought it up on the podcast.
Sometime last year, I think.
It was Everclear, one of a very prominent band back in the early 2000s, late 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it looks
Father of Mine. All
yeah.
That. Yeah.
So they released a re-recorded version of one of their hit songs, Santa Monica. Now they had a legit re-recorded version, which is fine. I would argue it's still not as good as the original, but you know, the original is what's stuck in our head, and it's always going to be tough to beat the original track, right? Because that's just what we're used to, familiarity. But they also released, and this was like an EP of sorts, I guess. So they had the original song re-recorded, but then they had two other versions of this re-recorded song, one sped up and one slowed down plus reverb, is what it says. And so I wanted to check out the slowed down version because I thought maybe it's a reimagined version. It's just a slower version of Santa Monica. I'm always interested in reimagined songs. I listened to it, and it's literally the re-recorded version of Santa Monica, just the producer or sound engineer or whatever just slowed down the song. That was it. And it sounds completely shitty. Everything just sounds more warped, and the voices, as when they get slowed down, they get like this. Like, that's how he sounds. And it was just stupid. And we brought it up. John, I think you even said, like, who the hell asked for this? And that's my question.
It made me angry.
But
angrier than I need to be about Everclear.
Right. And I don't know, man. And it's just like, this isn't the only band doing this stuff. And it's like you said, who did ask for this? What is the point? And the point is, the only point for this is to drive up streams for Santa Monica proper. You know, when we stream Santa Monica re-recorded slowed plus reverb, that counts for the Santa Monica re-recorded version. Or maybe it even counts for the original Santa Monica version. And it's a weird game to play. And it's basically a waste of time to the fans, because we see a new version of a song, we want to check it out. So we hit play. And it's like, you just wasted... I mean, I didn't listen to the whole damn thing because I realized what it was, but you wasted 15, 30 seconds of my life right there. And you got what? A bump for that week, because nobody's going to go back and listen to this shit. Like, I'm looking now on Spotify, and the re-recorded version, like the good re-recorded version, 2.1 million streams since May 2nd, 2023. That's respectable. The slowed down version, 35,000 streams. They also have a sped up version that only has 10.5 thousand streams. So you have 50,000 streams just for your stupid sped up and slowed down versions. It's not even, I don't even think it's worth it. Is it?
Isn't it?
Maybe it is to them, but it's like, it's only like a short-term boost. It's not like...
Yeah, it's not going to show up 3 weeks later.
Right, and it's not like you're investing in yourself. You know what I mean? Like when you throw money in investments or whatever, it grows over time. This isn't going to grow over time. This is just like a short-term...
Yeah, why not throw some B-sides in there with it, or something that you just recorded, like a new song?
And that's...
Try to boost the streams on something else.
Yeah, something worthwhile, like that you actually created. And that's kind of what I wanted to get to, is like... You know, when I saw Slow Down, I figured it was a reimagined song. Now, and I like reimagined songs. Like, maybe you just go straight acoustic. Maybe you bring in some strings. Maybe, I don't know, it's just a different way of, you know, giving us that song. But and that's what I wanted to kind of bring up. Like, Consequence wrote, like, you'll see an acoustic version. I think acoustic versions are fine. They were calling that an annoying tactic. But I think that's fine. I like reimagined songs. But one thing that kind of came to mind when I read this that I would love to see more of, and this wouldn't take any more of the artist's time or anything like that, because I can understand that reimagined songs, when you're redoing songs, that takes a lot of time. That's more money in the studio. I get that. But why not? And I feel like I don't see this very much, unless it's like rap songs. but you never see non-explicit versions of songs anymore. Like Green Day, or I'm sorry, Green Day, Blink on their, is it Dance With Me? Like right before the song comes on, Tom's talking about masturbation or some shit. And it's like, I can't play that song in the car with my 9 and 11-year-old kid in the car. And I want to. It's a really good song, but I can't. But if there was a non-explicit version, that chunk of the song right before the song hits would be taken out. So I just don't know why bands don't think of releasing non-explicit versions of songs, because those songs over time will gather so many extra streams than your stupid sped up and slowed down versions, right?
I mean, that doesn't, excuse me, that doesn't happen when they like release a song as a single and then it's on the actual release. Like, it's not separated there.
No, it's not. So you're saying that, the non-explicit.
So they release the song as a single and then it's on the full release. It's like those numbers carry over.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And, but I do think that, bands and artists could benefit from having non-explicit versions, especially nowadays. It seems like newer artists nowadays just throw the F word around and,
Sure.
And it's fine. It's been like that for a long time, but I feel like it's more free flowing or more freely thrown around than years past. And again, that's fine. But it's like, I think you're hurting yourself by not having a non-explicit version.
Sure.
Because
well, I see bands that do like dance versions of songs and they have somebody come in and remix it, and that's fine because it's actual,
yeah,
it's a new product.
Exactly. It's literally reimagined. And I love that kind of stuff. And you had brought up...
in the days of, 12-inch singles and things like that, there would always be, several different mixes on the same song, on that 12-inch single.
Right.
And, it'd be a way for songs that might not get club play to get played in clubs, and then more people hear it.
Absolutely.
People just want to dance.
Sometimes. But then...
I just want to dance.
I don't know if you said this pre-recording this episode or not, but you had brought up, why not even release demo versions of songs? Like, there's, for people who really love, digging into backstories of songs or just interested in that part of music production and stuff like that, releasing demos of those songs could go a long way too. Like Green Day just released demo versions of Dookie this year or last year. And
all the outtake songs that didn't make it.
I love that. Yes. Give us B-sides, that sort of thing. Acoustic versions are great. But yeah, I mean, there's things you can do other than just speeding down and slowing down the song. And again...
There's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
Right. And it's got to be money, right? That's the easiest versions to make, a sped up and slowed down version.
And then another thing that happened last year that I didn't like was Thrice had an anniversary for Artist in the Ambulance, their, arguably their biggest album. And instead of re-releasing that, they just re-recorded it as they are in a band now.
Yeah.
And that's probably, I'm sure that was like a financial decision. Like maybe that was on a different label when they made that record. They didn't want to, so they probably just re-recorded it to get more money from it. But
yeah, and I don't think I understand that fully. Like we're seeing Taylor Swift do that now. She's re-recording all of her past albums
to gain ownership of it,
taking ownership
on some level too. Yeah,
but. And I don't know if you know this or not, or if anybody else can educate me on this, but the moment she re-records it, that doesn't mean she owns the old records, though, the old tracks.
She just owns those new masters of those songs.
Okay. So, but in Taylor's situation, she has so much pull that she could actually start making sure those new versions of songs are played on the radio, are streamed more than her past stuff.
Yeah, her fans make that happen.
Yeah, right. So it may not be as beneficial for newer bands or literally any other artist to do that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know how I would feel if Thrice or let's say Mest even, or just name a band that wasn't like super huge, re-recording their stuff. I don't know that I'd be interested in hearing that. I mean, I might be interested in hearing it once, but I know I'm not going to like it more than the originals, you know?
No, I mean, it'd be cool to go see them live and say, hey, we're going to play this album in full.
Right.
And, just do that.
And then, man...
Or record it, do a live recording.
Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to say. Yeah, I would think more people would appreciate a live version than a a re-recording.
I think a lot of bands have done that, have done like, live in-studio performances of a record and then released it that way.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
That was a big pandemic thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
A lot of bands just went and would perform a whole, one of their popular records live.
Yeah, right.
Do a visual element,
right?
And things like that.
So I think we talked enough about that. But when
I'm not done.
Well, I sent you that early last week. I sent you that article early last week, and I was like, this would be good to talk about. And you even asked, you go, how much longer will Billboard matter, really? And I think that was, and you said no one cares about Sports Illustrated anymore. And that was a good take. Because, and I think it's a good point, because does Billboard really? I mean, it matters now, but will it matter? Because right now, you can't easily go access the Billboard charts without going to billboard.com and then, doing your search there. But you could go on Spotify pretty easily, go to browse or search or whatever, and then go to the top trending songs. Like, you can find that stuff pretty easily now. And man, with the way the system is, and I think when we brought this up, our minds were going. But I even brought up the fact that I think, there's got to be payola going on still. So not only are people gaming the charts this way with the sped up songs, the slowed down songs, but that there's some payola going on. There's some pay to play to get on the charts and that sort of thing too.
Or to get into that DJ program on Spotify, because sometimes it'll be like, here's some new songs that you might.
Yep. And it may not be like straight cash being, transacted, but there's something going on, because sometimes it just seems a little odd. And so it's like, if that's happening there, why would that not happen? Like, if it's happening on radio and it's happening on probably Sirius XM and all that, why would it not happen on the charts? Is that is it the real indicator of how well songs are doing? I don't know. It could be. It very well could be. But I have my suspicions.
But I've heard a lot of discussions that, like, what we thought is advertising isn't really working anymore either.
Right.
Just because people are so inside their own space and
their own bubble.
Traditional advertising's not taking hold like it used to. So
nope.
There's not a lot of money's being pulled out of that portion of the businesses and things like that. So that's going to be changing too, I think.
Well, yeah, and I think you even brought up, you probably think that TikTok creators are being paid off now. So just another.
It's been going on with YouTube creators. They get sponsorships and hey, talk about our product in one of your videos.
Yeah, right. Well, too, it's like, and I also wanted to bring up, to go along with the charts, and something's just not right. So you saw in like 2021, and I only know that this was 2021 because, and I actually had this written down to talk about on this, but I was just watching with the fam. We were watching The Weakest Link. I think. Is it The Weakest Link? No, it was like
the new version.
No, it was we were watching The Weakest Link, but it was another game show. It was called The Wall. Have you seen that? Yeah. Well, one of the questions on there.
Well, not really.
Well, one of the questions on there.
Wait, is it the one that's the floor?
No, it's the wall where they're dropping balls down. That's like Plinko.
Oh yeah, it's like Plinko. Yeah. Okay.
So, so they have somebody behind.
I was thinking of the floor.
They have somebody,
which is different from the wall.
Yes. They have somebody.
Let's see how many times I can interrupt you.
They have somebody in the back. That's answering questions, and if they get it right, the person out front drops a green ball, and it goes down, and they get the money or whatever that the ball lands into. If they get it wrong, they have to drop a red ball, and that money's taken away. Well, this girl was answering a question. I think it was something along the lines of, in 1964, the Beatles broke a Billboard record by they were charting 5 songs on the top 10 or something. It might have been 4 or 5 songs.
I think they had the top 5.
Yeah, okay. And so then they said the record was broken by which artist in 2021, and it was The Weeknd, Taylor Swift, Drake, and Cardi B. And I was like, I know the answer is Drake, because I know Taylor Swift did it, but she did it after Drake, and she beat Drake's record too. But anyways, the person I feel bad for her. She was so confident that it was Taylor Swift, because Taylor Swift did break it. She's right, but not in 2021.
Not the first one.
Drake did it first. So I knew that.
I was hoping it was going to be name the songs that were the Beatles songs that were topping the charts.
Oh, I don't even know if I could do that. 64.
Oh, it was pretty much I Want to Hold Your Hand, and then everything before that had been put out before that didn't caught on after.
Nice. So it had that.
Yeah, I Want to Hold Your Hand was the first one to actually be released by Capitol, so it had the wide distribution.
There you go.
Ergo,
yeah,
all the other ones then were sought after. Yeah,
wide distribution and maybe some payola. Not to say that the Beatles weren't great. I don't want to take anything away from them, but somebody was paid to get the Beatles going. Anyways, as all the artists back then.
I don't think so. I think they had enough momentum on their own.
Well, I'm sure they would have made noise, but I would think that it was things were put in play to make it go faster. And not to say, I just think that's how music was. And music's always
So you're
good.
saying the Kennedy assassination may have been a part of pushing the Beatles?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's the only connection I can make.
I don't know how you got that, because I didn't want to say it, but I guess it's written all over my face.
Well, you kept signaling a guy in a rifle. You were doing.
Oh, I was doing that.
I figured it out.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing the Oswald.
But anyways, I bring up the Drake thing because that's a weird stat that you don't see too often, right? So Drake beat the Beatles. He may have had 6 songs, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me on this, but I feel like he had 6 songs on the top 10, Billboard 100 top 10. And then Taylor Swift came, and she had 9, or did she have all 10? I can't remember.
It was a lot.
It was insane. But, when it happened to Drake, I'm like, back in 2021, I can remember hearing the news. I'm like, really? Drake? I know he's popular, but it's Drake? I couldn't name 2 of his songs at that time. Again, I'm not a big listener of, rap and all that, but I listen to a fair amount of popular music. So I thought, whatever. And then Taylor Swift does it, going 9 out of 10 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, this is strange. How are we going to have 2 artists do this in back-to-back years? Granted, I know it's Taylor Swift, and I know her fans are rabid, and her fans are great. She probably has the greatest fans in terms of pushing an artist there is. But something just doesn't seem right there. So I initially thought, somebody's gaming it for Drake. Somebody is gaming it for Taylor. It just makes sense, because how could it happen? It hadn't happened in what is that? 60 years almost, and then it happens twice in 2021. Once in 2021, once in 2022 or so. That's crazy.
Now, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that there's warehouses full of computers streaming these songs. To boost them up.
Yes. Well, I know that that's a thing that happens amongst some super fans, right?
Bot farms.
It wouldn't surprise me if there is bot farms somewhere doing that. You got to have money for that.
Powered by windmills.
So at least it's green, So it's really, maybe it's not so bad, But that's where it kind of gets me thinking maybe the Billboard charts really aren't a good indicator. I don't know. But again, maybe they really did get there on their own. I just think it seems a little... It doesn't sit well with me.
Well, anytime Beatles record gets broken, just get a little angry.
Yeah, I know. So that's true.
Start lashing out.
Yeah. Oh, and then... we should also mention, this is turning into a long segment, but then...
weren't the Beatles helped by everything else kind of sucking at that time?
That's true. They were the best of what was out there. They truly
Other
were.
than soul music, yeah.
Yeah. But
I think soul music was established and better
in terms of what the Beatles were doing. If we keep them in their
of that field, yeah,
better than the Beach Boys, better than the Monkees, all the thes. So they were the best for sure.
No, yeah, Kings.
Also want to say too, just to kind of reiterate this Billboard chart thing, because I have it written down, but we talked about it. We were surprised that Blink-182's One More Time song did so well. tied a record on the Billboard alternative airplay charts. I don't think I ever heard that song on the radio, and it's definitely not the best song that Blink released on this album. It's a good song. I'm not trying to knock them, but
possibly people are being brainwashed by it because it just keeps saying one more time, so people just,
I gotta play one more time. I'll hit it just one more time though. But then, okay, so you had that broke a record. No, it tied a record for 20 weeks in a row at number 1 on the alternative airplay charts. But then Sum 41 comes out of nowhere with Landmines that was released. I ended up looking it up. It was released on September 27th, 2023. And that song kicks Blink off of the number 1 spot on that. Like, what is going on? Like, something...
Canadians.
How does a song that's, what is that? How many months is that, John? We're in 3rd month, so like 6 months, 5-6 months old.
You got there.
How does it beat? How does it beat a song? How does it go to number 1? Landmines is a great song. I love it way more than One More Time's or Blink 182's One More Time. And Sum 41's Landmines. It's a perfect, like, don't want to call it a comeback song, but when it's comeback for pop punk for them, solid song. Deserved to go number 1, I think. But 5-6 months later, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just weird. Just
suspicious.
I'm suspicious. I just think everybody should kind of think about it. Think about it. I'm not trying to knock anybody here. I'm just got my suspicions. That's all. All right, John, we can move on. That was a lot longer than I expected that to be.
Yeah, that's what she said.
No, unfortunately, she didn't. Anyways.
Never?
Spotify, John, they were in the news this week. They rolled out music. They're starting to roll out music videos to their platform. Now, it's only happening in, like, currently right now, it's going on in, like, 11 different markets. UK, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, Sweden, Brazil, Colombia, Philippines, Indonesia, and Kenya. So the US and Canada is not part of that just yet. So they're testing it out, clearly. Let's see. Here's The Verge wrote this article, and it says, Spotify is officially adding support for music videos. The audio streaming service describes the feature as a beta with only limited catalog available as of today in 11 markets. Supported artists include Ed Sheeran, Doja Cat, Ice Spice, Aluna, and Asaki, with Spotify's global head of consumer experience telling TechCrunch that Spotify's full music video catalog will eventually include thousands of songs. I like this move. I really do. Spotify's been trying to kind of compete with YouTube for a while now when they introduced podcast videos. You got Joe Rogan on there. It's the only place you can really watch Joe Rogan videos, although I think they've come to YouTube now.
Well, it allows you to sell more visual advertisement.
Yeah.
If you have people actually watching the app instead of just having it be a background app.
Yep, absolutely. So I think this is great. I even wrote, let me try to find my little thing that I wrote. Well, I think I can remember, but people really knock Spotify mainly for the low payouts, right? And I don't agree with the low payouts, but I will argue that Spotify is doing the most out of any streaming platform, music streaming platform. They're doing the most for its artists, because now you've got one. It's easy to get on Spotify, so you could broadcast your music out there. So that's number one, just like all the streaming services. But you could sell merch on Spotify, and Spotify's not taking a cut of that. Now they've integrated gig discovery, so your shows can get discovered on Spotify. People can buy tickets through Spotify. I feel like there's another one. It'll come to me. But now you could put your music videos on Spotify, and it's just another way to share your content with your fans. And I think that that's great. You're not getting that on any other streaming platform. And I think, and I'm curious to know what you think, do you think that this could be somewhat of a threat to YouTube when it comes to music videos?
In that music video, segment, yeah, definitely. But not as a whole. I think people still seek out YouTube for other things.
Absolutely. But I think, kind of doubling down in the niche that they're in, and offering video support, I think is absolutely huge. And I can actually see that definitely taken views away from YouTube. I don't think it's going to pull like everybody away because everybody uses YouTube, but not everybody uses Spotify. So,
Sure.
But I think it's a great
And
move.
I still think when using Spotify, I might be using it at a time where I'm not going to be sitting and watching something anyway. So it might not.
Very, very true. And yeah, I thought about that too. And
Has to change the way people use the app. So.
yeah, I usually use Spotify. I use it when I'm driving, but then when I'm working, I have the desktop app pulled up all the time, so I could see me watching the music videos. I'm not a big music video watcher anyway, though, but when it's first released, I'll check it out. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think Spotify is wanting to kind of change the way the app is used anyway. They want to keep people inside the app, and I think this is a good way to do that.
Well, it's not going to hurt.
No, it's definitely not going to hurt. So,
some nudity would be all right.
yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, they're getting into audiobooks. Why not just start having movies on there and stuff too? Like, be their own. They had a porn problem at one point. Remember that? That was like one of the first things you talked about on this podcast.
Need to have a porn solution.
Yeah.
You're packing the family in the car, and your Spotify just starts up where it left off. And
yeah, right. Oh, man.
Great.
Mm-hmm. I can explain. Maybe they can have non-explicit versions of those episodes too.
Sure.
Kind of go back to what we were talking about before. But anyways, I thought it was interesting to bring up Spotify rolling out music videos. I think it makes sense since they're already kind of in that video space with podcast videos. And of course, they're in the space with music. So why not be all things music and not just be audio, be visual too? I like it. All right, John, I think we can round out this episode with news from a music icon. But he doesn't fit the scene. But I think it's interesting to just bring up. Neil Young has announced his unenthusiastic return to Spotify. So some of you may remember or have seen in the news that Neil Young, I don't remember when it was. Maybe it says in this article. But
it's a good 5-6 years ago now.
Has it been that long? Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was
I want to say like 2018 or 2017 or something.
Well, he was on, but he originally left because he didn't agree with Spotify.
Oh, wasn't it the Joe Rogan thing?
Yeah.
And the horse tranquilizer? That would have been 21 or 20. Then.
Yeah. So maybe it was like 21 or 22 even. Heath says that Joe Rogan, these are his words, was spreading misinformation about COVID and that sort of thing, which I have my own opinions on that. I don't think Joe Rogan ever spread misinformation purposefully. He's only questioned what was going on, as we all were we all didn't know, so he was in the right to question, okay? But anyways, he left because of that, because of Joe Rogan, pretty much. But he's now come back, get this, because now Joe Rogan, Spotify has announced that they are basically going to push his podcast out to Apple Podcasts, all the other podcast apps, all the other streaming services. So now, with that being the case, is Neil Young going to now pull his music from Apple Podcasts, or Apple Music, who now has Joe Rogan? Is he going to pull it from Tidal because now Joe Rogan's on there? No, he's not going to do that. So he decided he's going to come back. And I just thought it was interesting because I feel like it was a stupid move on his part. Yeah, everybody has the right to protest and do what they think is right if they don't like something, right?
Well, I feel like it was one of those who's coming with me kind of moments, and nobody really came with him.
Yes, exactly. And it's like Neil Young is great in his own right. Okay, I'm not a huge Neil Young fan, but definitely respect the dude.
You're wrong.
Done a lot for music, but who's gonna follow him? I mean, he's an old guy, not to be ageist or anything, but he's an older guy, and I just don't think anybody was going to follow him, and nobody did.
I picture
Spotify, I don't think cared.
Will Ferrell when he bursts on the stage of the Snoop Dogg show in Old School, and he's like, "Come on, you guys, and bring your green hat."
Bring your green hat. We're going streaking, and it's just him that's streaking through the campus.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's definitely Neil Young. I like that. But yeah, my opinion on all this, it's one, I hate the idea of cancel culture. But he essentially just canceled himself from Spotify. It's arguably,
A bold move.
It's a bold move, but Spotify is the biggest leader in music streaming. Like Apple Music isn't up there yet. So this only hurt Neil Young, which maybe it didn't hurt him that much because he's already got his millions of dollars and all that. Maybe he really didn't care when financially speaking. But it does hurt his fans who like Spotify, who pay for Spotify. They want to hear your music, dude. And because you're all uptight with what somebody says and you just can't ignore it, like, you're hurting your fans here. And
Talking to you, Sideburns.
I don't. I just don't agree with it. And I think people need to think about that before they act. And I would like to see that more. Not just having these knee-jerk reactions. Because he's not moving the needle for anyone else to jump ship from Spotify. You know?
How about you, Sideburns? You want some of these streams?
You want some of this milk? What's that off of? Is that off of Billy Madison?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd rather have a beer.
I'd rather have a beer. My favorite line from that is one of the guys asked Norm Macdonald, he's like, "What's today?" He
October?
goes, October? Such a classic movie.
Miss Lippy's car is green.
Miss Lippy's car is green. I don't remember that. I mean, I remember it, but I can't picture the scene. What did Miss Lippy look like?
It's the custodian giving his notes to Bradley Whitford's character. He's been spying on Billy. He's like, Billy likes to drink soda.
That's right. That's right.
Miss Lippy's car is green.
It's green. Yeah, that's right. Not helpful whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
All right.
God damn. The things I retain.
I know. Dude, me too.
Awful.
Me too. I know exactly what you're talking about, so.
Algebra? I don't know.
Yeah. I really want to.
The custodian's lines in Billy Madison.
Yeah, I really want to show the kids Billy Madison, but I know that there's parts in there that is kind of But again, we were young when we watched it, so.
I remember I brought it on the bus for 6 Flags trip. The priest was riding with us. So we played that movie.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember that.
I didn't give a shit.
No.
Well,
good times.
everybody figured out there's a VCR, and I lived the closest to the school, so they're like, well, go get some movies. I was like, all right. Can you imagine if I would have grabbed some embarrassing movie on accident?
Yeah.
Like John's bath.
John's first bath. Oh, God.
Where is it?
Oh, the priest would have loved that. What?
John's got an innie.
He's got 2 innies. Good stuff. All right, John, let's close this one out before it gets really inappropriate.
All right.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this episode. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you're really digging our show, please consider helping us spread the word and leaving us a review in Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. A 5-star review would be greatly appreciated. And please let us know what you like most about this show and what you'd like to hear more of. So with that, thanks again. Remember, spread love. Peace.